Well, here in NICVA we represent just over 1,000 voluntary and community organisations. They're a very, very broad range. Some voluntary sporting organisations, community groups locally, voluntary organisations that are delivering services. Very broad range right across Northern Ireland. Now, they're engaged primarily, I think, in promoting the health and well-being, particularly of people who are disadvantaged. They add an awful lot to the life of the community, literally, here. And without community and voluntary organisations, I think the place would be, much, much worse off. Obviously, as everybody knows, the Northern Ireland Executive have been given a very tight budget settlement, and things are really going to get tough over this 4-year period. Now, one of the fears that we have is that community and voluntary organisations might feel a disproportionate impact in terms of those cuts, and that is because all the budget holders who are having to deal with their own budgetary problems start to cut things that they regard as peripheral. And the danger is a lot of those services that are delivered by community and voluntary groups, they're well known to the public, but sometimes they're not seen at the highest level. So the danger is community and voluntary organisations will be hit hardest. Well, I joined SIPTU because I think people, in general should be members of trade unions. NICVA, my own organisation, would encourage voluntary and community organisations to recognise unions. We think they play an essential part in terms of good industrial relations. So we in NICVA would encourage people to be unionised. I joined SIPTU because it's a union that suits me. Many years ago, when I was involved in the Confederation of Community Groups in Uri, I joined the Irish Transport and General Workers Union, which was one of the forerunner unions of SIPTU. I've always been proud and delighted to say that my uncle, John McAleavey, was a full-time official for the ITGWU. So I think being in a union is very important. I think it's particularly important in the tight times that we're in now. And I think that in community and voluntary organisations, workers need to make sure that they have adequate representation as well, that their interests are also protected.